Welcome to Hey Mom, We Never Prepared for This, the show where we have the tough conversations around aging and caring for a loved one. Whether you're an adult child or an aging parent or anyone caring for a loved one, this podcast is for you. I am your host, Angela Vanderpool, and each episode we dive into actionable tips, heartfelt stories, and expert guidance to support you on your journey. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to Hey Mom, We Never Prepared for This. I'm so glad you're here. Today's episode is a special one for me because we're shining a light on a community that holds a deeply personal place in my heart, Whispering Winds Retirement in beautiful Bend, Oregon. Another community proudly managed by Dharma Healthcare Management. Whispering Winds is where my own journey and passion for senior living truly began. Since opening its doors in 2003, this community has remained dedicated to offering vibrant, connected, and holistic lifestyles for active adults. It's a place built not just with the intention, but with consistency and heart, something you'll hear clearly in today's conversation. Joining me are two women who represent the spirit and soul of this incredible community. Carrie Kasch, General Manager of Whispering Winds for the past 20 years, and Shannon Bennett, Assistant Manager and Marketing Director. Their longevity, commitment, and love for the residents they serve are what truly makes Whispering Winds feel like home. Today, Carrie and Shannon share their passion for this work, the stories that have shaped them, and what it really takes to create a community where seniors don't just live, they thrive. Carrie, Shannon, welcome to Hey Mom, We Never Prepared for This. I'm thrilled to have you both here. Let's start by talking about the legacy of Whispering Winds. Carrie, you've been with this community for nearly 2 decades. That's remarkable. What does it mean to you to be a part of a community that's been serving seniors in Central Oregon for over 20 years? From your perspective, how has Whispering Winds evolved over the years, and what core values do you think have remained the same?
Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much for having us. We're happy to be here with you today. You know, being a part of Whispering Winds for the last 20 years has been both a great privilege and a great responsibility. For me, it's not just about the longevity, but it's also about building a legacy, building a community where people really feel like they belong, building those trusting relationships with residents and staff and our community members as a whole. So I think that's just been most important for me, is just building that legacy.
Absolutely, which you have definitely done. Shannon, I know you haven't worked for Whispering Winds for quite as long as Carrie, but I know that your history with Whispering Winds runs deep. So from your perspective, what does it mean to you to be a part of this community?
Well, I've been in the senior industry for over 15 years in Central Oregon, and most of that has been spent in some capacity working with you at the Whispering Winds and partnerships. But there's a real difference in working for a community now that is paving the way for a different way of senior living, and I'm very honored to be here.
Wonderful. Thanks, Shannon. I always find that the heart of our communities is the people who choose to do this work day after day. So I want to hear a little bit more about what fuels that passion for both of you. Shannon, what originally drew you to this work, and what keeps you coming back every day?
So connecting with people. It's a very personal business. And I just enjoy getting to know the residents, the families, and finding those connections that just make people thrive every day.
Absolutely. I've always called Shannon the connector, for sure. And Carrie, after all these years, what still lights you up about this work?
Oh my gosh, I think it's, again, the connections that we have with people and just being able to lead and to serve others. I think that's where my passion is, being able to be that positive influence in a time where some people are having a hard time navigating through, the process of making decisions on what they should and shouldn't do. So I think being able to help answer some of those questions and help them find their places is what keeps bringing me back. And it's a variety every day, whether we're dealing with residents or staff or the family members. So I think that's what it's about, is just the people.
Never a dull moment for sure. Sometimes it's those unexpected moments that remind us why this work matters so much. Can either of you share a story or a moment that really reminded you of why, like something that really stuck with you of why you do this work?
Oh gosh. I think probably the most recent event that we've had or incident in our building was we've had a resident who has moved in, and we were honored to be able to help her family provide a surprise birthday party for her. So she had, I think, 14 family members in that had come from out of town with grandkids and great grandkids. And we basically hosted them all day. So I started off, in the dining room serving them her favorite breakfast. And then we had coordinated her favorite event, playing volleyball. So they had a little rowdy game of chair volleyball, and then serving her in the private dining room dinner with her family. And I think receiving a card from the family members that they don't remember the last time they had that much fun with their grandmother, it's striving to make the moments unforgettable and just striving for that.
That's wonderful. What a special memory you made for all of them. Yeah. How about you, Shannon? Is there a story you'd like to share?
Well, I kind of thought this at a little more broad angle. So for me, just walking around the building and seeing all the residents and their smiling faces every day, and they're just happy and enjoying their lives when they really should be and not having to worry about anything. It just really makes my heart happy every day to see that.
I love that. Well, let's talk about the differences you see in the day-to-day. Carrie, in your experience, what is the biggest difference Whispering Winds makes in the lives of residents and their families? You just shared a wonderful story of a birthday party, but
I think that the biggest difference that we make in the lives of our seniors is just not creating just a safe and welcoming environment for them, but really a thriving environment. Our staff members really try to create intentional moments every day for them. And so, just really knowing our residents and knowing what they prefer and what their wants are. I think that's also one of the ways that we've evolved here at Whispering Winds is recognizing and then adapting, some of our programs to make sure that we're meeting the needs and the wants of our seniors today.
Yeah, that's great. Shannon, how do you see the difference show up? Maybe in ways that aren't always obvious at first.
I think we're really good at listening. Our residents can come in, staff can come in and talk to any of us at any time. And I think all of our management team is really good about just pausing, listening. We don't rush through what they're trying to say to us. And then we really consider how we can make that experience or what they're telling us better.
That's great. Absolutely. So I am sure that both of you have witnessed amazing transformation over the years. And as we all know, sometimes people aren't excited about making this transition into senior living. Do you have a story that you might want to share about a resident who was hesitant to moving in, and then maybe how they ended up actually thriving once they did move into Whispering Winds?
Sure. I think one of the stories I will never forget is probably about 12 years ago, we had a couple who had moved in, and you could tell from the first day that the wife or mom was not interested in this move. She wanted nothing to do with it. They had lived in downtown Bend. They were close to the shopping and the restaurants and the galleries and, the live theater there. And she was not excited about the move. And as her daughters and her husband were moving everything in, she just sat in the living room and she had her arms folded. And I think you probably remember.
I remember this. Yes.
But she sat there with her arms folded all day, and she was not happy about the move at all. And, over the course of those next couple of weeks, when I ran into her, she was smiling and laughing, and she made the comment that, I feel like I'm in college again. I go down and I eat with my friends when I want, and I can go to the classes that I want. And, she was starting to be more outgoing and, really seeing what all that independent retirement really offered. And so, that was kind of cool to see. And most importantly, what she didn't know at the time was that her husband had had a terminal diagnosis, and he didn't share that with her, but he wanted to move into a community and get her settled so that when the time came, she would have, that support around her. And so it was really meaningful and a great perspective for us to see, it is hard for them to move in, but that it really is a great place to be after they can get settled. So
yeah, I agree. That is definitely one of my favorite stories too. I remember that one. Shannon, is there any stories that you would like to share that you have seen?
Sure. Mine's a very recent one. I had toured a brother around that was kind of exploring some options for his brother that was living with him. And they said it was going to be a hard conversation. He wasn't going to want to move. And it went better than they expected after they took everything and saw everything and took videos and pictures and talked with him. And so the following week, they brought him in to see the apartment that was available, and his face lit up. It was amazing. And he was fairly shy and introverted. And so I was a bit concerned about him, but he's already starting to initiate games with other residents.
Wonderful.
And I see him out being social. So that just made me very happy.
That's great. These are definitely the stories that I think are what keep us each coming back every day. The other thing that I think is a really important piece of why we do what we do is that relationship that we're able to build with the families of our residents. I know that those can be really powerful. And I'm wondering if either of you have a particular connection with a resident's family that has been meaningful or lasting for you that you would like to share with our listeners today.
Yeah, I can. There's so many family members that we stay in touch with over the years. Some of them are overseas, and so we still correspond with emails now and letters. And family members continue to come into our building for our events, whether it's the holiday party or different socials that we're having. And so I think most importantly for me is just, we have relationships that have spanned through generations. We have residents now who their parents were living here and now they're actually residents moving in, and so
Full circle.
It really is. So I think just maintaining those connections and those relationships and, making sure that we have a place that they can call home when it's time too. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Shannon, is there any stories you would like to share about families?
Well, my favorite thing is how comfortable family members are here, and that all of us as staff, along with Carrie kind of said, get to know them almost as well as our residents, and just getting to see them all enjoy each other in such a wonderful, happy place makes me very happy to see that.
Yeah, I love that too. Thank you guys for sharing that. So one of the things that I like to include in these podcasts is ending with a little wisdom, because I know a lot of our listeners are at the beginning stages of this journey and just starting this process, which we all know can feel a little overwhelming. And so I would love it if each of you could share some advice to family members or seniors themselves who are just starting this process and starting to explore senior living.
My biggest piece of advice would be just to start early. I think just making sure to go out and visit all of the different communities that you're interested in, attending the events, attending the holiday parties, or the, whatever type of socials they might be having. We've had residents that have been on our wait lists or our mailing list for 10 plus years, and they would come every year to the parties and we would get to know them, and they were really comfortable in our community. And then when it was time, when they felt they were ready, it was a very easy transition for them. So I think just getting out there and really seeing what's available. And, you're going to find that every building has a different personality and a different feel in it. And you're going to just be able to find what fits best for you. So
absolutely. Thanks, Carrie.
Mm-hmm.
Shannon?
It's fairly similar to Carrie. So definitely tour around, really check into things. Every community is very different. So you definitely need to find the right fit for you. I think asking about staff longevity is a really good thing. And just having that conversation, who the owners are, and then always try the food. That's a big piece of it.
Absolutely. Yes. Seems to be a common theme through all of the buildings is that starting early piece and hopefully making that decision, as we talked about before, a crisis situation hits for sure. So, and the food also always comes up. So, Carrie, Shannon, thank you both so much for sharing your hearts, your stories, and a little bit of the spirit of what makes Whispering Winds what they are. It's clear that it isn't just a place to live. It's a place where people are known, cared for, and celebrated. And you've shown us what it looks like when experience meets passion and how that can truly transform the aging journey for so many. So for anyone listening who's wondering what the next chapter might look like for a parent, loved one, or even yourself, I hope this conversation has offered hope, clarity, and a reminder that there are places and people who truly care. And thank you both again for being here. It's been a pleasure.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yes. Thanks for tuning in to Hey Mom, We Never Prepared for This. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. It really helps us reach more adult children and their aging parents and loved ones. Special thanks to our sponsor, Dharma Healthcare Management, for supporting the show. Stay tuned for more honest conversations to help you find peace, clarity, and community with others who understand what you're going through. And we'll see you next time on Hey Mom, We Never Prepared for This.